You can kick it off.
Excellent. So thank you for joining us for our pre-camp meeting for 2025. We've been preparing really well for this summer. This is going to be a great summer out at Scout Haven. We're so excited to welcome you out to the property out there. Type into the chat if you haven't been to Scout Haven before, if this is a brand new trip for you or for your pack. And so we'll be able to kind of tell what's going on in terms of how familiar people are with the property and how much we have to cover in terms of the overall stuff or mostly the new stuff. I'm going to turn it over to Brandon and we'll get started with some of the safety stuff and then we'll jump into some programming stuff in a little while. Right.
Cool. So we're going to start with our safety moment. So our safety moment today is about the annual health and medical record. So every year for camp, we need to have, welcome, sir. Come on, find a seat. So the annual health and medical record form for summer camp, any camping over 72 hours, you need to have parts A, B, and C of the med form. So because summer camp is over 72 hours, everyone needs to fill out the whole medical form, parts A, B, and C. So part C is signed by physician. And yes, you do need to fill out the official form. We'll talk about the over-the-counter form a little bit later, but we will move on. That's our safety moment for today. With that, so my name is Brad Blatz. I am the camp director again this summer, and Damon already introduced himself as our program director, but we will kind of get moving. So some of our camp improvements this year for 2025, our biggest improvement, I would say, is the new Rotary Pavilion, which will be located right in front of the trading post. So you'll see that in the photo right there. A lot of the trees were removed, but there's a nice pavilion there, which will be used for a lot of meeting spaces and gatherings. Additionally, everyone's favorite game at camp, Gaga Ball. So we have now new lighting. There's a nice little pole in the bottom picture that will illuminate the Gaga pit area throughout the day. We also got some new pedal boats, which is huge for Cub Scouts because last year we only had 2 boats. This year we have 4 new pedal boats. So we get us 6 boats total, which is very popular because it's easier for parents to take their scouts out on those boats. We're working on a life-size chess and checkers board out at camp, as well as a rota board, which Damon will explain, I'm sure, in a few moments. We also have some new training post products and food options, as well as parking lot, road grading, program area upgrades, and cabins as of today. A lot of our buildings have been restained today, which is great. And then, as in years past, all of our campsite pavilions have power and latrines that have been updated. So that's kind of the campsite improvements. So I'll pass it off to Damon to talk about our program updates.
All right, so you'll be getting a full program sent to, or a full program schedule sent to you 2 weeks before the first session, before the first Cub Scout session. It'll all be sent out to you. That'll be the open program schedule with recommendations for different ages that should come to the different program area things throughout the day. We're trying to keep as many of those program areas open throughout the day to give campers and Cubs and adults lots of things to do throughout the day. So you'll get a full schedule sent to you through email 2 weeks before the first Cub Scout session. We've put a lot of thought into with our great staff. We great hiring this year. We have incredible people in all of our areas. All of our area directors are really well trained and ready to go. But we've tailored a lot of the programming to the theme, to our sort of prehistoric themes, Scouts of the Stone Age. So a lot of the stuff that we're going to be offering in the area will be themed around that idea. And we have a revamped AOL Overnighter. So in past years, we've done a lot of different things for that AOL Overnighter. Our goal is to help kids feel that sense of adventure that last year of Cub Scouting should feel like. We should be giving them a sense of what the SBSA program is gonna feel like, and making that a little bit of a push, a little bit of an adventure on that overnighter is going to be a big key to that. So you know, pushing them out of their comfort zone a little bit, making sure that they have those skills that they'll need in SBSA later on. And then so we're including back in the hike up to the top of the hill with a campfire up at the lake, as well as the action archery that we've done out there for the past couple of years. Ed runs an incredible action archery program up on the hill. And then we're going to be doing an orienteering project up there, as well as our new nature area director. He's got some great ideas about what the kids can do while they're up there in terms of conservation project up on the hill, and learning about all the local environment up on the hill. That's such a special place to us. And getting the AOLs to be able to go up there and really feel that sense of adventure up on the hill is what that program's all about. So we're hoping that you really like the new AOL program. Webelos program. So for the past couple of years, there hasn't been a Webelos specific program. Although on that Saturday night, they've done some incredible things in camp, putting together an aqua Olympics or something like that. It's been incredible. A lot of our reviews talked so much about how great that Saturday night program is. But we would like to keep that to, tigers, wolves, and bears, and give our Webelos something really special to do on that Saturday night. It won't be an overnight program, but an evening program. And so we're gonna take them to a hike and do some great activities with them, talking to them about their new role in their Cub Scout pack. So when you go from being a bear to a Webelos Scout, the hope is that those kids start to see themselves in that leadership position, and that they, throughout the rest of your program year, see themselves as leaders, and they can help those tigers, wolves, and bears, and even lions with those next, with all their adventures, and helping you along the way with the management at pack meetings and things like that. So our Webelos program is going to be designed all around, helping these kids understand their new role within your pack. We're going to give them some really fun activities to do on that Saturday night, and teach them a little bit about what that leadership is going to feel like. So program signups, there will be some events throughout the 4 days that you're out there that will be limited space. So things like 3D pens and things like that, where we just, if we had to have the technology on board to cover everybody that would show up, it would probably be too much to have out at camp. So for some of those program areas, we will have to have signups. There's a few things at the waterfront as well in the aqua area that we'll have to have specific signups. And that'll just be stuff that gets taken care of at camp. We'll try to make sure that we have enough of those sessions throughout the program that if it gets really crowded and gets really popular, that we can add some later on. We can be a little bit flexible as to what your needs are. If kids seem really interested in those things, we'll talk to those area directors and make sure we're opening enough slots and enough things later in the week to make sure that those kids still get an opportunity to do it, but that it's manageable in terms of the size of the kids that are, not the size of the kids, the size of the groups of kids that are at those program areas. So there will be a few things throughout the week that'll be program signups, flag training and participation. I'll get to the chaplain program in just a moment. Flag training down at our Scout Skills area, we really, really would love to this summer have at almost every one of our flag ceremonies have some Cub Scouts helping out. It should be a proud moment for them. I remember when my kids went through the program, and they loved getting a chance to participate with the staff in those flag ceremonies each morning and each evening. And so we really want to train them up to be able to show proud and show what they can do during the flag ceremony. We also are going to have a chaplain program this year. For the first time in a number of years, we're going to have a full-time chaplain at our camp. And so he's really excited to work on programs throughout the week. He'll be helping us out with a lot of different things throughout the week, but also to make sure that we have, people that somebody that kids can talk to. It's hard to live out in the woods for 4 days when you're used to going to school and living in your own house. It's hard to be in the woods for a while. So somebody that parents and kids can go talk to about that experience, about the things that are happening out at camp, but also he's going to kind of run like a mini chaplain program where he'll be taking kids under his wing and making sure that they feel, those kids that feel a special connection to that program, have somebody out at camp that they can talk to about that. our Gateway and Campsite Decoration Challenge. So in past years, we've kind of just called that a Gateway Challenge. A lot of people think there's, it's a million different ways to decorate your campsite based on the theme. And we really want to kind of open that up and encourage you to do whatever it is that's going to make your pack happy to walk back to your campsite. The campsite really is your home away from home for 4 days. And we want to make sure that you guys can make your Cubs proud of their campsite and make sure that they get an opportunity to decorate it in a way that kind of reflects them as scouts. So we'll have a little challenge, and that'll be part of an award at the end of the week. Groups that do a great job with that challenge. So get creative and get your whole committee involved in coming up with a really great idea for how to decorate your campsite. Various camp awards. We'll have things going on throughout the week. Honor pack, things like that. Clean campsite awards, things like that are very traditional to Scout Haven. But there'll also be some specific things, fishing awards, and I think somebody's got a good idea for something down at the waterfront that we've never done before, and there'll be an award based on that. Something about remote control boats or something. So there's always really good ideas percolating through our staff. So little obstacle courses and things like that going on. So obstacle course, we have that great new obstacle course. So there'll certainly be some awards based on those things. We want those kids that are motivated. Some of your Cubs are very, very motivated by this stuff. Some are just happy to be out at camp. But for those kids that get really motivated by setting goals and saying, I want to be able to get this and I want to be able to get this, we want to give them those opportunities to kind of push themselves throughout the week. Themed programming and Scouter help with Camp Story. All right, so part of our skit and our theme this year is going to be rather than us setting campers out to just find something along the trails, like some piece of a spaceship or something like that. What we're going to be doing this year to encourage throughout the theme skit is we're going to be giving some little wooden tokens that have the different parts of the Scout Law: trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly. And what we're going to ask is that some of your leaders have these in their pockets. We're going to give them out at meals and to leaders. And you're going to be helping us to find scouts around the property, throughout all our program areas and throughout your campsites and all different parts of the camp that are exemplifying these different parts of the Scout Law. And that's one of the ways that we're going to kind of support the mission of scouting, which is, ethical and moral decisions made over a lifetime based on Scout oath and law. And so that's one way that we're going to kind of help that out. Our camp story is going to be based on some prehistoric people coming to our camp, and we have to guide them through the idea of what does it take to become a scout, right? They might have the scout skills, but maybe they don't know how to act like a scout yet. And we're going to have our Cubs try to help them to become trustworthy and loyal and helpful and friendly and courteous and kind and all those, right? So we're really excited for this summer. We have super creative staff. We're going to need your guys' help, though. Everybody that comes out to camp is part of that experience for them. And we need you to bring all that scout spirit that I know you have at your regular pack meetings. Bring all that scout spirit to camp, because it makes our place so much better and helps our staff to be able to deliver the program that we know that you deserve. So we're excited about the program updates and announcements. And our first day, we're backing up. Thanks, Brandon. Our first day overview, our check-in, we're backing it up just by a half an hour, just to give you guys a little bit of, people were coming at 8:30 anyway. So we might as well make it reasonable. So our check-in will be from 8:30 to 10, units arriving and moving into sites. We really want to give you that time to make sure that you can move into your tents. Having Cubs know where they're going to live. That's what they care about very first when they get there. Is where's my tent? Where can I put my sleeping bag down? And it's something that if we don't let them get into their sites and find a bed, find their home, they're going to be a little bit more stressed out. So we're going to make sure that you have time to get into your sites. And then we'll do our camp tours and swim tests. I know that from my standpoint, going out there and then working on staff for a number of years, camp tours were always a necessary thing that the health department requires from us. But I think there's some ways to make it really, really exciting for campers and for families. And that's going to be one of my big goals this year. I want you to brag about it on your surveys. I want you to tell us how great those camp tours were. All right, because that's going to be a big push for me. How can we make this a really great time for our scouts and for our families, and give a really good introduction into what Scout spirit is right from the get-go with our camp tours. Swim tests, we have to make sure that we're prepared when we walk in to camp at that first moment. So we'll move into sites, we'll do those tours, but along that tour, we'll be doing our swim tests. So coming with bathing suit and towel and everything that you need to be able to do that swim test right away. We want to make sure that kids are prepared and that they're kind of ready for it, so we don't spring anything on them. We know how uncomfortable that swim test can be. Even though our lake is warm, I tell you it's warm. Lunch, then a parent meeting in the dining hall. The Cubs will meet with the guides. This will give us a chance to, as camp leaders, we can talk to the adults that are in camp about some of the really important safety features that we have around camp and what you can expect from us to be able to keep you guys really safe throughout the week and make sure that your Cubs have a great week. And that they can kind of design their own program about what based on what they love to do. And during that time, our Cubs will meet with the rest of our staff and introduce themselves. We'll have program areas open for a couple of hours on that first day. A little bit of campsite time, flags. That's called, it says retreat because that's when we pull the flags down. Dinner, and then staff visits to campsites. We really want you to feel like that's your home. And so one of the things that we're going to train our staff to do is that they don't belong in your campsites, right? And so that's your home for the weekend. And we want to make sure that they know the proper procedure and that you guys know the proper procedure of how to invite somebody in your campsite, whether it's people from another pack or our staff itself. So coming in and doing that the proper way, permission to enter your camp, right? And then they invite them in, and some of the kids can talk about some of the things they're bragging about. Oh, I got this really cool stuffed animal I want to show you, or whatever it is, right? So we want them to be really proud of their home for the 4 days, and our camp and our staff will get around and introduce themselves a little bit during that time. And then we'll have our amazing opening campfire. I love doing campfire programs. We will entertain the first night. Our staff is going to put on a great show for you the first night, and then prepare the kids throughout the week, throughout the 4 days, to make sure that you guys can put on a great program on our last day. That's my favorite campfire, is the one where we get to watch the Cubs come up with great skits and songs and run-ons and jokes and whatever the kids love to do. So religious services will be moved to day 2. We've done that on day 1 previously, but I feel like it's a better fit on day 2 because day 1 is so full of some paperworky kind of stuff, and making sure your health forms are turned in. There's some other stressful stuff that happens in there. And so we want to kind of make sure that day 2, I think it's a better spot for that. So we'll make sure we're going to move religious services to day 2. That's kind of all for that slide. This is our Cub Scout session schedule. So days 2 and 3 are pretty similar, with religious services on day 2, but then replaced with more evening programming on day 3. Now, day 3 is going to be a little bit tricky for Webelos and AOLs because they will be leaving. AOLs will be leaving after lunch for their great program up on the hill, and Webelos will be leaving after dinner for their program. So that evening programming will be really for Tigers, Wolves, and Bears. And then where it says fellowship fires, what we're hoping you can do is kind of invite some of the packs that are nearby. So if you have a site down the road, send somebody down and invite them over to do a couple of skits. It might be a good opportunity to practice some of your skits and songs that you're planning on doing for the opening camp or for the closing campfire on a smaller group. Get your kids kind of used to performing a little bit, do things like that. And then our last day, we'll have our breakfast, 3 more periods of open programming, and all of that, again, all those A, B, C, D, E, F, that'll all be included into that schedule that we send out 2 weeks before. So you'll know exactly what kinds of programming are happening in all of our different areas. hopefully I didn't bore you too much. I'll pass it over to Brandon to talk about the Black Pug system. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
Glad you're talking about it.
So looking in the chat real quick, I do see there's a comment about a random gray box that's on the screen. So I can assure you that in the office right here and on the computer, we do not have that gray box that's popping up. So I do apologize for that. And unfortunately, we can't move it because we don't see that box. So on our computer and on our screen, we just don't have that box. So
Covered a bunch of stuff.
supposedly we are. I don't know. There's not that one here. So moving on to the Black Pug system though. So registration was done differently. So in years past, signing up for our camp sheet, we used a double knot system. So this year, a lot of stuff is built into Black Pug. So a camp coordinator has access to do pretty much everything, and they should be the one doing everything. There shouldn't be individual registration. It should really be funneled through one person. However, for parents to pay and everything, there's the parent portal, which we'll talk about in a few seconds. For unit-based edits, so the big edits, a camp coordinator could request if you have a trailer, your site selections, you could pay for everyone, trading post orders, or special requests. We'll talk about the trading post and special requests in a few slides. But the way to access this is through your link on your receipt. So when you register for camp, you should get a receipt. There's a link. You can click on that. Or if you logged in with an account, you can click the login, then you find the activities button, then go to events. And then on your big page where it says, blank is the camp coordinator, you'll find availability to do all these things. Parent portal. So if you want parents to pay, instead of them creating their own registration, they should use the parent portal. So your unit needs to go in and opt into that. This is a disclaimer from our website on the right-hand side. Strongly recommend to use a parent portal. Print out cards for registration to give each parent. These cards have login credentials for their scout. You can go online and make payments for their own scout. This helps family get to the early bird rate. But to set this up, it's under the registration contact. So there's a drop down called additional actions, and that's how you access the parent portal. So through the parent portal, people could make their own payments, as well as order trading post themed shirts, and then make special requests, which we'll talk about in a few slides. Next slide, please. So health and safety, as we already talked about, our safety moment today was on the annual health and medical record. So all participants must bring parts A, B, and C to camp. That's both youth and adults. Again, part C is required and signed by a physician, any type of doctor. We need that. In addition, anyone under the age of 18, so that's all our Cub Scouts, need to have the over-the-counter medicine form. So that is found on our website on the attachments. That is also signed by a doctor. So when you're scheduling your physicals, please make sure you take that with you. That's going to allow our camp nurse to give out medicine by the way of a doctor. So the health department doesn't want this form. Those without properly completed records will be sent home within 24 hours. So everyone needs to make sure you have these forms. And then your physicals do need to be within 12 months. So special requests, as I talked about a little on the last slide. So if your unit is planning on bringing a trailer, I know most packs don't have a trailer, but if your unit's bringing a trailer, if you need electric in your site for CPAP machines, or if there's any dietary restrictions, you have to go through the portal on Black Pug and put all of that in. Last year, we had a special request form. All this stuff now is done directly through the Black Pug system. So if you have any religious and medical reasons, just please make sure it's in the system. Speaking about dietary restrictions, our camp menu is also available online. So if you go to the attachments on the registration form, you'll see the camp menu. With the CPAP, if you do need a CPAP machine, please bring extension cords. We only have 6 sites in the camp that have electric, so please bring extension cords. We do have battery packs available to rent. It's $50 for the Scouts BSA sessions or $30 for the Cub Scout sessions. The battery packs will give you a full day if needed, but ideally we'll try to put you in your unit in a site with electric as long as you guys request it. And please give us 2 weeks in advance notice so we could put you in the proper site as long as it holds the proper number. Next slide, please. So visitors in camp. So also between the next day or two, you'll be sent a link. So all visitors that are coming to camp must register for camp. So there's a link. It's similar to years past. On that link, you sign in at least 24 hours prior to their visit. They'll be directed to go to the office, get a wristband. But we just need to make sure we know who's in camp per health department and BSA regulations. Meal tickets can also be purchased through this link. So if anyone is coming out for the day, they should purchase their breakfast, lunch, and dinner through the site here. So if you look at the site, it'll tell you each day, pick your day you're coming or days, pick which meals you want to order. And then same thing for the barbecue at the end of the week. So on Cub Scouts, the last day is Sunday. So on Sunday for the barbecue, if you have family members coming, you can purchase your ticket through this site, or you could do it in the trading post until the end of day one. Next slide.
Brandon, do the,
Yes.
like if my wife and daughter comes to the picnic, do they have to do the 24-hour registration, or is that just meal ticket?
You can just buy the meal ticket for that. So for the picnic, we have a question in the room. Yes, so if you don't need to do it within 24 hours, as long as you have the meal ticket in advance, but you do need the meal ticket to pay for your meal, and staff will be there to collect it. But please just make sure you purchase your meal ticket. And what you can do at the trading post. So adult supervision requirements. So for Cub Scouts, the overnight exception is as long as if we have 2 adults registered over 21 for the first youth attending and 1 additional registered adult, all the other adults just need youth protection training. So this has been a change last year's summer camp. We don't need every adult registered, but every adult going into camp does need youth protection or safeguard youth training. So the BSA did change youth protection training about a couple weeks ago. It is now called safeguarding youth training. That training is good for 1 year, but if you have either or and it's valid through your time at camp, all adults are okay. We do need to make sure though that all your adults online and in the portal do have their birthdays listed accurately. I know last year we had a lot of people whose birthday was January 1st, which amazes me, but everyone gets registered through the New York State as well as the National Sex Offender Registry. So we need to make sure that birth dates and YPT dates are accurate. So please, coordinators, make sure your information is in there. We're just not asking for it just to ask for it. It's for a lot more legal things. Moving on. Trading posts. So a lot of questions have been asked about theme shirts. So theme shirts are now available to be purchased by units. Again, this is going to be through the Black Pug system in your portal when you go in. Once you have parent portal enabled, parents can buy them directly through there. If the unit wants to take care of it, your unit coordinator could do so as well. Unit accounts. So in the trading post at summer camp, make sure, or if you have parents that want to have an account, that is totally cool. And the trading post will set you up an account. It just gets debited each time you use it. For the barbecue, as we talked about, you could order those in the trading post or on that visitor form on Blackbug. And then products. So there's always t-shirts and stuff to purchase in the trading post for some of the program activities. So if you're interested in doing tie-dye or leather crafts or anything like that, there's stuff available for purchase. Next slide. Staffing needs. So this is a hard subject. This year, we are actually hurting for 2 areas, the waterfront and the kitchen, which are 2 pretty big areas. So during the week, we're going to need some help. If anyone's looking to help out at the waterfront and the tower or even help cook, we could greatly use any help we could get. As you see, we're looking for a cook, an assistant cook. We're looking for instructors in ecology and STEM, as well as lifeguards and kitchen aides. So if you have any questions or know anyone interested, please let me know. But my information is on the screen. And then we'll open this up to questions. We'll stop sharing. And then if you guys want to share your faces, we'll answer a lot of the questions. So we'll kind of go through that. So Jeff, to answer your YPT question, Safeguard Youth Training is an annual training. As long as you guys have the current YPT or Safeguard Youth, you don't have to take it again before summer camp. It just needs to be valid.
Let me scoot back to the top. Oh, so just people saying new for me. One night last fall with the monster camp out. The swim test.
So swim test, I know I put in the chat a few minutes ago. So swim test, due to New York State Health Department regulations, as well as other factors, we can't honor pre-camp swim tests unless our staff or a certified BSA camp school director is present. We did have pre-camp swim tests that about 60 people took advantage of a few weeks ago. But with that being said, everyone else does need to take the swim test at camp. Brandon, I see your hands up.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to confirm if people are uploading their YPT certificates to Black Pug system, they do not need to bring a physical copy, correct?
That is correct. So that's one of the nice things about this new system is it'll help our check-in process. I know last year to sit there collecting everyone's and verifying. As long as everyone please puts their accurate information in, it will make everything smooth because we'll check the certificates ahead of camp and make sure those are in. You could upload the safeguarding youth training certificates too. It doesn't have to be the YPT, whatever, as long as it's valid through your stay at camp. Brian has a question on the AOL experience statement. I'll pass that off to you.
Excellent. Yep, go ahead. Ask me a question about the AOL.
But can you describe it? Like, what do we need to prepare, have the families and kids prepared for? What do we do?
So there's two different options based on staffing.
From Ohio. I don't think they're from.
What's that?
They're from Ohio, I believe.
You guys are from Ohio?
Yeah, we're from Cleveland, so we've never been to your camp before. We don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we don't know anything about what you guys do.
Okay, wonderful. So on day, well, there will be a couple of programs throughout the week down at like Scout Skills area and at Nature that will kind of be preparing the kids, and that'll be in the schedule that they can go to ahead of time. That'll kind of help them along the way, but it's not necessary. It's not mandatory to go to those things. But then on day, Saturday? On Saturday after lunch, we'll be going out on a trip. Like think of it like an outpost. So they'll actually be spending their last night in camp up on what we call the hill. So the property, Scout Haven has kind of two sections. The smaller, flatter section is by the lake where we do most of our activities. But then across on the other side of our beautiful Crystal Lake is this big, beautiful hillside that's very, it's like a natural area. There are some lean-tos up there. There are some pit latrines up there and things like that, and lots of trails and wild areas. And so what we do is we take our AOLs to that location. Sometimes, depending on weather and staffing, we may actually paddle across the lake to be able to go there. To kind of embark on our trip, we'll paddle across the lake in whatever boats the kids are swim tested to be able to go across in. We also have a little pontoon boat that we can take people across in. And then there's a trail starting from the other side of the lake that goes partway up the hill. There'll be some campsites there that will teach the kids how to set up a tarp shelter. So we'll have all the tarps and we'll teach the kids how to do that. They'll be tying up tarp shelters. The things that you'll bring with you will actually be trucked up there. So we'll have a truck take all of your stuff up on Saturday morning. So we'll ask that families that are going on the AOL overnight will pack everything into a garbage bag. It'll be sleeping bag, pillow, an extra sweatshirt, things like that you'll need for that trip. And then we'll drive that all up to the campsite. When we take our hike up the hill, once they get there, they'll find all their gear there, and we'll spend a little bit of time doing that. There's also probably going to be 2 or 3 programs up on the hill that'll be super entertaining for the kids. We do an action archery, which is we hike along a trail, and they do compound bow archery at moving targets. And so these are not moving targets like deer and things like that. They're just kind of fun targets that go along zip lines and get moved up and down. And the kids have a ball doing that. That'll be one of the stations. They'll also do a pioneering project with some of the, we'll split them into 2 or 3 groups based on how many campers are up there. And they'll also do a nature program while they're up there. After that, they'll get some time to tie up their shelters, have dinner up there on the hill. So we won't come back to camp for dinner. We'll actually have dinner on our outpost at the outpost up there. After dinner, we'll take this beautiful hike up through some of the old growth forest up along Scout Haven. We have some really beautiful old forests with gigantic trees. Beautiful hike up through the hills up to a lake that we have up at the top of the hill. We're gonna have a great campfire up at the top of the hill, and then we'll actually hike back down through the dark. So they'll have to have headlamps and things like that. We'll hike back down through that same trail through the dark to their campsites. They'll spend the night in their tarp shelters. We also have lean-tos in case the weather turns bad on us. There's always a possibility that somebody can duck into a lean-to. These are dry shelters for us. And then in the morning, we wake you up nice and early, pack everything up, and then triumphantly come down the hill back to camp and maybe go to early bird swim on Sunday morning or something like that. So it's going to be a program that I think your kids are going to really remember fondly, but it is going to push them a little bit. It's not miles and miles. I'm describing it and you're imagining a 20-mile hike. It's not like that. It's probably an eighth of a mile up the hill, and then maybe 3/4 of a mile to the top, to the lake up top, and 3/4 of a mile back. So, and we have roads that go through all that whole property. So if there's ever a first aid emergency, or we have a camper that literally can't make that hike, whether it's an adult or a scout that for some special needs can't make it up to the lake, we can still transport people around through there. We want to feel that sense of adventure while making sure that it's super duper safe for our AOLs and families, and let everybody be part of that program. So hopefully that answers it a little bit. Any other questions?
So the families are staying in the tarp shelters as well, and they should bring a tarp to build that, or the families are.
Go ahead. Yep.
Or the family stays somewhere else.
No, so what it'll be is that it'll be the scout and the rest of the family. So the scout and parent will build their own small tarp shelter. We will provide the tarps, and we'll teach people how to do that. It really works out good. You'll have a tarp to lay on that you'll put your sleeping bag and pillow on. Most of it is big hemlock forest and big pine forest. So the ground, I know sleeping on the ground isn't great, but it's a whole lot better than sleeping on a bunch of roots. So most of the areas that we do this in are pine forests. And so they kind of have a soft-ish feel to them. So we'll teach them how to tie up those shelters and help out. We'll have staff up on the hill to help out with those shelters and make sure that kids can build something they're really proud to sleep in overnight. I did this program with both of my sons, and then I ran the program for a couple of years back in 17 and 18. So really familiar with the program. It can be done really well and make sure that it's something the kids are proud of and that we can make it super duper safe for them too. So.
Okay, that's good. And then another question I had was, again, never having seen your site or anything about it. What's provided at the campsite? Are they like wall tents, or are there cots inside? Should we bring our own cots?
Love the question. Thank you. And this is great for everybody, even who've been out at Scout Haven, because this does change year on year too. We keep adding to the property, but every site will have standard BSA wall tents, which means there'll be a wooden platform that suspends everything off the ground with 6 to 8 inches. And the inside there are 2 cots, 2 stretched out, I don't know what they call those, just the stretch cots, canvas cots. So some people choose to bring like a sleeping pad to put on top of that, but not like a big queen size thing, like maybe like a little sleeping pad about that wide, fits on those cots really nicely. But most of the Cubs are great just on the cots themselves. And then the wall tent, it's a canvas wall tent that goes over the top of it. It's tall enough to stand up in. You can tie up little lanterns in there. The doors, there's not doors, but the flaps close around the front. We can leave the flaps up on beautiful dry days where you can let some of the air get through your tent and things like that. Each site is also equipped with a pavilion that has solar electric in it. It's not enough to, run a refrigerator off of. We don't want you bringing that stuff out to camp, but to charge your phone during the day and things like that. It's got little USB plugs in the pavilion that's in the center. Inside the pavilion is a couple of picnic benches. There's a campfire. There's a preset campfire with rocks around it in each of the campsites, as well as a latrine that's really nearby. Well, I think all of them have a latrine within 30 or 40, maybe 100 feet of the site. they all have latrines. There is a shower house, one big shower house on the property that has flush toilets and running water for those things. There's also running water in the site just for washing hands after the latrine and for putting out your fires and things like that, filling up a bucket to put out your fires. What am I missing? Oh, and each site has a flagpole as well. So you'll be able to run sort of a flag ceremony in your site if you'd like to in the morning and the evening. I know my pack, we always love to do that. It was our little practice that we did before we would go down to the big flag raising and lowering in camp altogether. So any other questions on that?
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Jeff, I see your hand up. I don't know if you have a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to expand my previous question about youth protection and safeguard youth training real quick, because youth protection training was valid for 2 years, whereas this new safeguard youth training is only valid for 1. I just want to make sure that our adult leaders that are coming in on the 2nd year of their youth protection training are still going to have that training valid and recognized by camp, and that they won't need to suddenly take safeguard youth training on that very first night to be able to stay.
As long as their youth protection or safeguard youth training is valid through their stay at camp, we will honor both, because youth protection training is still good until whenever it expires.
Okay.
Whatever that original expiration date is good. That's to that, all the way to that. Then at that point, they'll have to switch over and take the safeguard to youth. I think it's 90 minutes the first time around, and then only 15 minutes or so for every subsequent year after that. So it's a little bit more of a, I've taken the training. It's really good. Scouting America has done a really good job putting this together. We know that our first and foremost job is to make sure that our scouts are safe. And sometimes it can be a little bit of an inconvenience, but I think we all know that's our primary focus, and that it has to be for all of us that are involved in the program. And so, I know that it can feel like a burden sometimes, but we all know that it's the most important thing happening. So yeah, that 90 minutes, whenever it expires, it'll be that 90-minute first time. And then as long as you take it within the year each time, then it's only 15 minutes. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions
from the room as well?
Where do we get the health forms? So health forms, there should be an attachment on the website under the attachments. But also, if you go to Google and Google BSA health forms, you'll take you to the national site. You'll find the one that says long-term camp, which will cover parts A, B, and C. But it's on the website though as well.
Yeah, it's the same form nationwide, right? Scouting America has one.
Yep.
Has one for long-term camps, right?
Yep. The only difference is the over-the-counter form. That's in the attachments as well. That's not going to be with the health form. It's just a separate form that needs to be filled out. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question. I was just kind of wondering how the bugs are. A lot of mosquitoes. I mean, how much bug repellent should we be bringing here?
I would say it depends on the week, but
yeah, because we're by a lake, it can be very weather dependent. It just seems like sometimes the humidity comes up just after a storm. It'll get real bad for a little while. I don't wear a lot of bug spray, and unless I'm going like to the Adirondacks with black fly season, I don't end up needing a ton, but I know that some people are a little tastier than me, and some people, no matter where they are, they're gonna get a lot of bug bites. I would say that it's pretty comparable to most people's just backyard environments in suburban areas. It's not drastically worse or better than that.
Just to confirm for the AOL overnight, we do not need to bring tents, correct?
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, just for the AOL overnight to confirm, we do not need to bring tents, right?
No, I would actually prefer. So in past years, we've had it so that you could bring a tent. I think it adds a little bit to the adventure for the kids to feel that sense of pride of building that shelter. Once again, I've stayed in them many times through the rain too. If we do it right, it's something the kids can really feel proud of. We'll have enough tarps there and do enough teaching ahead of time that the kids can. I would rather see them do that. If you bring a tent, I'm not going to say no. I'll still truck it up the hill for you if you want to do that. But I think that the kids will feel really proud of being able to create a shelter for themselves and their parent. And it maybe a really big shelter for the whole group of, you know, their friends. If they have 3 or 4 friends that are all AOLs, they might want to do that and let the parents stay in the lean-to. So
Great, thank you.
I've seen that done really well, and the kids feel a great sense of pride from it. So
Great.
Any other questions? And thank you, Lisa, for adding the link to the chat. I'd have to get out of the Zoom and it'd just mess up the recording if I had to find it. So, but any other questions? If not, well, thank you guys. We look forward to an awesome week. As Damon said, we'll be sending out the program schedules 2 weeks in advance. I know last year, based off a lot of reviews, you know, program schedules are always handed out the first day of camp, and we just want to get those in hands earlier. Additionally, I know the overnighter too last year was a concern for many units, so Damon's really worked hard to kind of rebrand that and bring it back to what you might have heard in years past. So with that being said, thank you guys and have a great night. This recording will be sent out to everyone probably by early next week. So thank you.
thanks, everybody.